I was expecting when I turned on the news Thursday that I would see a massive red wave taking over the country. After all, if you were like me, just a smidgen of a news junkie, you would have heard all of these pundits sharing that they believed, based on polling, that a red wave was about to happen. And it got me thinking deeply about belief and faith, and what is the difference between the two. And I realized that one is so deep about that you know something to be true. They knew in their heart, because of past history, that when you have a president from one party, the opposite party comes in the midterms. They knew it, except it didn't manifest that way. And it made me question, where do we have our beliefs? And do we ever question them? And does having a belief make it so impossible for you to move past it that you almost become rigid in it, dogmatic potentially? And when I was looking at the pundits and watching the conversation, I realized that they had in fact become dogmatic. And I listened to people contemplating, what did the election mean? Why did it turn out this way? Of course, there's theories galore, but why I think it's less important. I think what really it's about is that we can't make assumptions sitting only in our belief, that rather we need to look around us and have a little bit more observation, both in reality and at the same time have a little bit of faith about how things might actually turn out. Faith, of course, if you're unfamiliar with the concept, I often love to think of it as one side of a coin with doubt on the other. Faith incorporates doubt. Faith allows us to say, things may not actually be going the way we'd like it to go, but I have faith that it's going to be okay. I have hope that things will work out because God is in fact with me. Well, when we think about this paradox of faith and belief, it also put my brain thinking about prophets. I love them. After all, they're a whole third or part of the Hebrew Bible where we read about these people who had so much belief or faith in God that they made these prophetic announcements. Well, the Torah had advice about how to discern if they were false prophets or true prophets. If they were false prophets, well, you knew it because they didn't do so in God's name. Okay, well, that's a gimme. Make a prophecy, do so in God's name. The other thing that they had to do was that their prophecy had to be proven correct. So they had to do so with perhaps not just belief. They couldn't be dogmatic. They couldn't be rigid. They had to observe all of God's signs. They had to have faith. When I thought about it in relation to Vayera, which is this week's parsha, we see Abraham. Abraham is, of course, called to a task which encourages him to do something horrible. Sacrifice his son, the one he loves, Isaac. I think many times in our lives we face challenges that deeply breaks us into our core, that we ask, how could this even be happening to me? Why am I going through this? It is inconsistent with all of my beliefs that I know about the world. It doesn't work this way. Why is this happening? I think Abraham must have thought that at some point. After all, he wandered off into the wilderness for quite some time with his son but he kept going. We read and recognize that faithful Abraham was so certain that he was going to do what he felt God was indicating for him to do, that he raises the knife to kill Isaac. And then God has the angel call out. Rashi says, God did not say kill him because the Holy One, blessed be he, did not want him to kill him, Abraham, to kill Isaac. Rather, God recommended Abraham to bring him up with the intention to give Isaac the status of being an offering. Bring him up. Sometimes only in life can we be brought forward to learn by going through deep challenges. Maybe Rashi was on to something there. That those challenges force us to let go of some of our dogmatic beliefs, but refine ourselves into having a deeper faith, where we can both express doubt, frustration, and even anger at God, questioning why we're here, and yet coming to a place of acceptance, peace, and ultimately growth. That being here allows us to live a more fruitful and faithful life. Kierkegaard understands that Abraham became, in fact, a man of faith, a knight of faith, because of what he did. Maybe we could understand that he became, for the Torah, a true prophet. The Torah, by the way, is riddled with comments that the people didn't have faith in God, didn't have belief, worshipped other gods, weren't certain at times that God would be there to answer their call. I too, like them, desire certainty. I too, like them, want predictability. I too, like them, want to be able to look at the pundits and say, you gotta be right. After all, a broken clock has to be right twice a day. But what I think they're really getting at is that the people wanted certainty. We all want it, we crave it. But our world is not a certain world. Our world demands more than that from us. Our world demands that we push ourselves to be people of faith, to have hope, that even though it's not working out the way we predicted, it's still going to be okay. God's going to be with us. We will not be alone. And that we will find a sense of peace and growth as we go through this process. As we face life's challenges, may this be what we all experience.